On behalf of the Executives Association of Fort Lauderdale, welcome. We appreciate you joining us this morning. My name is Dennis Strucker. I'm a director for the Ed Morse Automotive Group, and I'm honored to be the current president of the Executives Association of Fort Lauderdale. Let's get this started. It's now my pleasure to introduce my friend and fellow execs member, Mr. Walter Duke. A little bit about Walter. He's the president. Come on up. He's the president. I'm so bad at this. He's the president of Walter Duke and Partners, Inc., a comprehensive commercial valuation, advisory, and consulting firm that provides critical analysis and market metrics to corporate, government, nonprofit, and private clients. Celebrating 50 years. He looks good for 80. The company has completed over $100 billion of commercial real estate assignments throughout the Florida market since 1975. Walter is a frequent panelist, presenter, and moderator on topics relating to commercial real estate and valuation. So let's give a warm welcome to Walter Duke.
Okay, thank you. I think I like that first intro better. That was nice and quick and to the point. Good morning, everybody. I know it's early. I know not everybody likes to talk about economics or the economy. I do. It's one of my favorite subjects. But I appreciate you coming out today back in 2018, we used to do just a global perspective, but we decided as an organization, let's do a local perspective as well. And so since 2018, we provided that. So we'll take you around the county, as we always do. They asked me to cut it down a little bit this year so that we'd have more time for our keynote, which is awesome because she's fantastic. So I think if I just take the gratuitous platitudes out, I'm a recovering politician, I think we'll cut about 10 minutes off this speech. So no shout outs today, sorry to say that. So let's get started. Well, before we talk about the Broward economy, let's just sort of set the stage. What is Broward County? First of all, we are an economic monster. We really are. You should be very proud if you do business here and you're successful at it. Broward County we're part of the South Florida MSA. We've got about 6.3 million people in our MSA. We've got about 3.3 million people in our workforce. It's a big one. If you measure our MSA size nationally by size of population, we're about eighth, about with Philly and Atlanta. If you measure it by GDP, we're about 12th, similar to Seattle and Atlanta. Our GDP as a region is about $533 billion. You can see we're $163 billion of it. We have a AAA credit rating, one of only two in the state. So we're really doing a very good job. This is our new commission. Beam Furr is our new mayor. He's a very good elected official. We're very lucky to have him. So the county's doing very well. If you looked at Broward County just by GDP alone, we would be about the 36th largest state in the country. So I'm very proud of you guys and all of us here that do work in this county because, we are a big economic machine, and so you guys are part of that. I know it's hard to read in the back of the room, but we're really going to just take a look at five things in the economy: the population growth, labor and employment, business confidence, consumer spending, housing affordability, number one issue. Industries, we're going to touch on our legacy industries: real estate, tourism, marine industry, three of our legacy industries. And then we're going to wrap up with our engines: Port Everglades, fantastic port, Fort Lauderdale Airport, and then downtown Fort Lauderdale, which I consider to be our third economic engine. Population, that great migration that happened after the pandemic has stopped. I mean, at one point, I think we were doing 2,000 people a day in Florida, and so that's down to about 1,500 a month. We project about 18,000 new residents per year up to 2030, and not only is our population growing, even though we've stopped growing as much, we still are a nation leader. We still are one of the top states in the country, top areas in the country, in terms of population growth. 5 counties in this state make up 20% of the growth. We're one of those counties. So that's good news. The other thing is people that are moving here are wealthier. Area median income in Broward, about $89,000. Area median income, household median income. Household median income from those moving in, about $123,000. So we have wealthier people moving in. There's a downside of that too, and we'll talk about that when we get to labor. Here we are, labor. See how that works? No, seriously, a couple years ago, if you may remember the presentation, we had a real labor crunch. We had a problem here in Broward County. We did not have people to fill our jobs. And then the second part of that was, if we were able to find the people for the jobs, where are they going to live? So we had a big problem here in Broward handling labor and employment. And so, let's just look at the numbers now. I'm happy to say that our stakeholders and our shareholders led by folks like Heiko Dobekrow, Career Source, have really stepped up and addressed, what our labor crunch is. We generally have a stable labor market now. Job postings are about equal to job seekers, and so we're doing relatively well. We're relatively stable. It's settled now. Businesses have really started focusing on streamlining their operations. They've focused on maintaining their current employees, moving them, training them up from C to B to A positions within the organization, and it's really worked. And the other thing that I'm really proud of our employment community in Broward County has done, we've been more flexible on hiring. We'll take a look at hiring baby boomers, older folks. I'm a young boomer, happy to say, that need more flexible scheduling, or single parents, or even those that have paid their debt to society and now are back out in the workforce. So we're being more open to that. You can take a look at the job growth and job loss in our county. Government's at the top, professional and business services is at the bottom. Interestingly enough, business services was at the top last year, biggest gain, so now we've lost last year. The job postings, as I mentioned, are equal to job seekers, and the main postings, or the main demand, is healthcare workers, nurses, registered nurses, paralegals, logistans, retail clerks, also in great demand, and those will continue to be in great demand until 2030. Business confidence is at a 6-year high, to be honest. Things have settled. We have the election behind us. We have generally a pro-business administration with, we're looking forward to more deregulation. Things are settled. They're more stable. So things are pretty optimistic. We'll see in a second the survey results from our organization about how we feel about the business climate right now. So as you can see up here, I know it's a little hard to read, but 8 out of 10 of us said that we expect business to be better this year. This is in this organization across all industries and types of professions. 7 out of 10 said 24 was better than 23. So we're generally very optimistic here. And one interesting thing, 55% of us said that we are outperforming our industry peers outside of Florida. And I've always contended that Florida, Broward County, particularly South Florida, has outperformed the broader economy. And we continue to do that here with our business and what we do. You got to talk about consumer spending. It's 70% of our economy. And it's generally, I feel like consumers are in the mood to spend this year. They spent a little more last year than they did in 23. Credit card balances are up 8%, as you can see. That's not bad in and by itself, but since the first quarter of 2021, credit card balances are up 51%. Black Friday sales were pretty good this year, 3.4%. That's 14% online increase, 1% in-store increase. Personal savings rate at 4.4%, not too bad, seems pretty good, but you have to remember they were 32% after the pandemic. So we've depleted our savings, we've run up our credit card balances, just something to keep an eye on. Taxable retail sales are up last year. Retail occupancy is very good. We'll talk about retail when we get to real estate. Subprime auto loan delinquencies and credit card delinquencies creeping up. So overall, consumers are in the mood to spend, but there's some chinks in the armor. Housing affordability, top issue in Broward County, top business issue in the state of Florida. The question is, where are our people going to live? They can't afford to live here. Statistically speaking, Broward County is the least affordable county in the nation relative to wages. I mean, think about that, the least affordable county in the nation relative to wages. I saw Jermaine Smith-Ball here from the Urban League. Her and her organization are doing a lot to address affordable housing here in Broward County. Look at the median price of the home here, $620,000, 9% increase. If you're in a home and you have a low interest rate, you're sitting pretty. But if you're not sitting pretty. Only 6% of our workforce can afford a median priced home in this county. That is not a recipe for long-term economic sustainability. Rents did go down a little bit this year as all of these buildings that were built in 21 and 22 started filling up. So tenants did get some relief on rent. Rent is still very high here. We have 80,000 plus severely cost-burdened households in Broward County. Now, those are households that pay more than 50% of their take-home for housing. That's not sustainable. You want to be about 30% so you can have healthier consumers. I'm very proud that this county coalesced around this issue about 4 years ago. Stakeholders from all industries, healthcare, education, tourism, nonprofits, business community, we all got together, and the result of it was the passing of the first of its kind in the state 10-year affordable housing master plan in May of this year. That plan comes with funding. That plan comes with land use recommendations. The funding from that plan over 30 years is going to be $2 billion, and it's going to produce 41,000 good quality affordable housing units that support over 86,000 low-income housing residents. So I'm very proud that the county addresses the labor issue. And I say the county, all of us collectively, all the stakeholders out there, we are addressing affordable housing, and you're going to see we're going to be addressing resiliency as well. Okay, so the key drivers, what fuels our economy? And it is a very good economy down here. We're very, very fortunate. We've got our legacy industries, real estate, tourism, hospitality, marine industry, blue economy, and then, of course, our three engines, Port Everglades, our airport, which is fantastic, and then downtown Fort Lauderdale, which is in itself is an engine. We'll talk about that. Real estate last year was a mixed bag, a bit tepid. We outperformed the broader economy, but the transactions were down, capital markets were still disrupted, interest rates hadn't really settled yet, cost hadn't settled yet, so that has all stabilized. It's settled. Our insurance premiums are still very high. That's a problem in Florida. We're working on that. But overall, we expect to be a better year for real estate in 2025. 24 was not bad. We outperformed the broader economy, but transactions were way down. Construction was off, starts were off, and we expect that to rebound a little bit this year. Just quickly looking through these property types, industrial, if you own industrial in Broward County, you're sitting pretty. Very valuable. Land has probably doubled in 5 years. There's just not that much of it here, so it continues to be in great demand. Multifamily, we're very healthy. A bit more of a tenant's year than a landlord's year. We expect that to change toward the end of the year. We expect that the inventory to get filled up. Everybody feel comfortable that the markets have settled. Some construction to be starting toward the end of this year. Hotel we'll talk about when we get to tourism. Retail is still the darling in real estate. All the poor operators were flushed out during the pandemic, and lenders and investors and developers saw the value of a manicure pedicure bay or a grocery store or those kind of services that you can't do online. And so retail is very, very popular right now. Office is where the story's going to be this year. Class A office is doing pretty well. Downtown Fort Lauderdale has a great return to office ratio. But you're going to see B and C office buildings get flushed out this year. You're going to see equity investors lose money. You may see lenders lose a little money because work from home hasn't flushed out yet, and these B and C office buildings just don't have as much utility. So you're going to see some of those get demolished or repurposed. This is the wonderful new convention center, that's a hotel and convention center that's getting built on 17th Street, built by the county, $1.2 billion project. Be completed in late 25. Bookings are already occurring for 2026, and I hear they are amazing. Some huge conferences and conventions, so that's going to be cool. 800 rooms, 29 stories. If you haven't been down by 17th Street, it's unbelievable what that has done to the skyline down there. It's really beautiful. So let's talk about tourism. Unbelievable industry, one of our legacy industries, 100,000 people it supports in Broward County. It's about a $16 billion output every year. 24 was about an average year. We got over the sugar high from 21 and 22 when everybody came to Florida because we were open first, and it's stabilized now more. We have 10,000 rooms in the pipeline. About 2,500 of those rooms are over the next 2 years. So we do have some healthy pipeline. The other indicators are relatively tepid and similar from last year. We expect more of that this year. We're healthy. We're just not, going nuts like we were after the pandemic. Marine industry and the blue economy, one of my favorite things. I mean, the marine industry is just unbelievable. We just had a Super Bowl, and how amazing that Super Bowl was. Well, we have a boat show every year here in Broward County. That's equivalent to 4 Super Bowls in terms of its economic output. So you think about that. We have 4 Super Bowls every year right here in this county. It's unbelievable. This year's boat show, Phil Purcell said that it was the biggest boat show ever produced in the history of boat shows. Over 100,000 guests. I see Bill Walker here today. He said he transported 80,000 guests on water taxi. That's unbelievable. We had, Broward County, we are a boating county. We have 47,000 registered boats in Broward County. I mean, think about that. That's just amazing to me. Sales are down nationally a little bit, about 10%, but here locally, boat sales are pretty stable. The blue economy has kind of grown out of our marine industry, and it's really all about trying to monetize and brand all of the amazing scientific research that's being done by our universities down here. And so we're branding it as the Marine Research Hub, much like Silicon Valley or the Research Triangle. And it's really unbelievable when you think about it. Broward County has got the 3rd largest coastline in the world. Right here, we have more coastline in Florida than any state but Alaska. We've got 60% more coastline than California. In your face, California. Yeah. We're not playing with the coastline. So anyway, it employs 142,000, this blue economy. This is marine scientific research. It employs 142,000 people regionally. probably about 45,000 here in Broward. It's got about an $18-19 billion economic impact. And when I used to be the mayor of Dania Beach, I got the pleasure of meeting all the scientists down there that are working on amazing things that are going to change the world. So it's really cool how our community got together, the stakeholders, and we're promoting that brand. So during the boat show, the investors are coming down to buy yachts. We expose them to the research, and things occur, and the world gets better. It's amazing. Last thing I want to point out on the blue economy is when we address issues that impact our long-term economic sustainability, like affordable housing, labor and employment, resiliency has to be right there. Whatever your position is on climate change, you can't deny when you look around town, when it rains these days, it's different than it used to be, right? I think we need to address that. So our stakeholders in the county, our county leaders, Rob Cornarez is involved in this, are rolling out the 2050 resiliency plan with $2 billion of funding over the next 30 years. And so this is another example of how our county is pulling together to do the things that we need to get done to make the tough decisions, for the long term. Port Everglades, wow, what a story. 2,200 acres. Just to put that in perspective, Tampa has 5,000 acres. So we do a lot with a small port. It supports about 11,000 local jobs, about 192,000 jobs throughout the state. It's really unbelievable. I have the Mickey Mouse characters up here because Disney just commissioned their second ship for Port Everglades that's going to be there in November of 25. The reaction on the first Disney ship has been fantastic. We ran into Ted Drum last night at dinner at the fisheries, and he said that he took his grandkids on a cruise, and he said it was unbelievably great. Food was fantastic. So Port Everglades is really on a roll. Look at their numbers. That operating revenue in 2024, world record for Port Everglades. That's the best they've ever done, though, up 18%. Cruise passengers, we are the third, you see up there, third busiest cruise port in the world. It's unbelievable. We have 80,000 cruise passengers a week coming in, rolling out. I mean, you just think about some states don't get 80,000 visitors in a year. Containerized cargo is our third best year ever. We were rated number 1 in the state for ports for container efficiency. Petroleum products, second best year ever. We supply almost 40% of the state's petroleum comes right through Port Everglades. You think about that. Deputy Glenn Wilshire, Deputy Port Director Wilshire said that 1 petroleum truck a minute comes in and out of Port Everglades. And if you've ever been down on 84 and Federal Highway, you can attest to that. This beautiful picture you see is Terminal 5 at our airport. Airport is, if you ask business travelers, or you ask business companies that are looking to Fort Lauderdale in Broward County, airport's the top asset. You fly in, you fly out, it's got great destinations. I mean, it's really an asset. So this is Terminal 5, it's under construction. It's a $400 million project, about 200,000 square feet. It's going to be done in 2026. Airport's unbelievable. I mean, they do so much with so little. They're literally on a postage stamp. They've got 3,100 acres. Seems like a lot until you compare it to, say, Denver, 35,000 acres. Orlando, 14,000 acres. So we're as busy as an airport as we are, 17th busiest in the country, and we do it on 3,100 acres. It's just an amazing testament to Mark Gale and his team over at the airport. So they support 16,000 local jobs, 255,000 jobs throughout the state. So airport is really our top economic engine. The numbers are fantastic. We're not quite back to 2019, but we are running almost 100,000 passengers a day through that airport. It's just phenomenal, the work that they do there. I'm very proud of them. We've got about $3 billion in CapEx projects underway. They're working on the people mover to get people from the port or the airport over to the port. And they're also working on the bypass road that runs through the port. Many of you may recognize this building. This is the main downtown Fort Lauderdale, top building in the market. One of our members, Styles Development, built it. Downtown Fort Lauderdale is the third economic engine, an annual economic output of almost $36 billion on 2.2 square miles. It's really phenomenal. I'm going to take a look at some of the numbers downtown. They're really staggering. They're hard to read, so I'm going to just go through them with you real quick. 13,200 residential units downtown. That's condos and apartments. We have 20,000 units in the pipeline. I expect that pipeline to start cranking up in end of 25, early 26. We have 9 million square feet of office. We have about 400,000 in the pipeline. Fat Village, Tim Petrillo, and Alan Hooper and Hines are coming out of the ground with what is going to be the most spectacular office product you've ever seen. Excuse me. I know investors from Miami and other areas that are actually coming up here and investing because of how great that office product is going to be that they're building. Retail space downtown. This is downtown in 2.2 miles. 1.6 million square feet of retail space. We have 800,000 in the pipeline. 1,500 hotel rooms downtown. We have 630 in the pipeline downtown. This is the one that gets me. 200,000 jobs downtown. That's 20% of our entire workforce in Broward County works downtown every day, 2.2. And I should mention every day, Fort Lauderdale is a top 18-hour city in the country, along with Denver, with Austin, with Charlotte. In terms of return to work ratio, downtown Fort Lauderdale leads the nation. 90% have returned to work in Fort Lauderdale. Some days are better than other days, but 90% is a huge number. When you look at some of our urban cores, they're at 60%, 50% still. I mean, they're changing their entire downtown. One thing about our downtown that's kind of cool is we're 55 or 60% residential versus office. I mean, so a lot of people live downtown too, and it really supports the services. All right, let's wrap it up and get ready for Paula to come on. South Florida, Broward County is going to remain strong this year. Business confidence is very high. Great migration, the population growth will continue at a muted rate, but we're still growing. House sellers and real estate are getting real this year. They're going to start selling. Rent growth will be muted until the end of the year, then it's going to increase a little bit. Lack of inventory is an issue for housing. We don't have any more land. It's a tough thing. Commercial real estate is going to be better this year than it was last year. Office, of course, is going to struggle. Tourism is going to continue to improve. Our economic engines are really performing well. We have hotels in the pipeline. Resiliency and housing affordability, which we talked about, are still top issues, but solutions are at hand. And then finally, thank you very much for your attention. We appreciate it.